Hey, it's Andy Christie from Inspect the Uninspected TV. We're here in Alliston, Ontario, talking about Tarion Warranty protection for new homeowners in Ontario. A lot of people know about Tarion. What I think most people don't know is that you have to carry the ball on it yourself. You don't really have a warranty if there's nobody to identify the deficiencies in your house. You've already paid for the house to be constructed according to the Ontario Building Code, the house design, current standards, and your agreement with the builder. That's all good, but before your 1-year anniversary is over, or before your 2-year anniversary is over, you should really get a thorough, qualified home inspector, building inspector to come and inspect every element of the house. So what are the common deficiencies that a thorough inspector is going to find at a Tarion inspection? Mostly it's about junctions, flashing locations, joints around windows and doors, that kind of thing, but it's also big time, it's about shingles. Many warranty inspections have exhibited major deficiencies, not only in the quality of shingles, which we do see some of the time, but almost every house we can see some nailing deficiencies where people are using nail guns. They think it's a machine gun, da, 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 instead of making sure that nail gun is completely perpendicular to the surface of the sheathing. People tend to rush a little bit sometimes, and the nails end up on an angle, the shingle isn't fully seated, then the shingles are susceptible to being blown off the roof. That's one really solid example of what we find. Beyond that, there aren't very many houses, or let's just say this, many houses in Ontario do not have the amount of insulation the home buyer has paid for. Quite often, it's a little bit low, maybe further from the access point, right? So when you get up there, and a lot of inspectors, again, don't go all the way through the attic, that's a problem. The inspector needs to go all the way through the attic. That's when you see these deficiencies. You can see locations where there's no proper skirt, no proper barrier to keep the insulation inside the attic. That's very common. But more often, it's all about depth of insulation. So we'll find that in many houses. Engineered floor assemblies. So those floor assemblies that have looks like a hockey stick on the bottom, hockey stick on the top, and then wafer board down through the flange. Engineered joists, engineered floor assemblies. We find a lot of deficiencies with that kind of system. When you nail joist hangers into place for that kind of system, for some reason people often neglect to nail into solid wood. They nail into wafer board within a normal joist, which is totally inappropriate. So most people in Ontario that have that deficiency in their house, they don't even know it. And the warranty period ends and they haven't addressed it, and the builder hasn't been required to come and address that deficiency. Like I said, many of the deficiencies are about flashings. When you get up on your ladder, you can see them. A lot of the deficiencies that I find at Tarion inspections, you need to be on a ladder to see. So it's kind of, the lazy inspector is going to miss your deficiencies. They're not going to get their ladder, use their binoculars. So when you get up on top of that low roof, you can see the flashing fully. And you can see it's not sealed, maybe not fastened properly. We have a lot of deficiencies, or we find a lot of deficiencies at these little flat roofs out front of, you'll see it at many homes in the Toronto area. Flat roofs with a drainage system and the drains at a high point and the flashings aren't fully sealed. All kinds of deficiencies relating to those flat roofs for some reason. Most masonry systems that we see are really well done in Ontario. We do have a lot of, I think we had a few weak years there, maybe in the early 2000s, but now we're here in 2014. The masons are doing a great job overall. Really good concrete down below and really good masonry systems on houses. So that's a big celebration. Shingle quality has come a long way in the last few years. It's much better, much higher quality shingles now at most new houses compared to in the early to mid 2000s where we had major problems with shingles. Somebody changed the formula. We introduced some components to shingles that didn't work out very well in the 2000s, the early 2000s. We're a civil engineering-based home inspection company. We think you should get a civil engineering-based home inspection company to inspect your house. However, there are lots of good home inspectors around who don't have a civil engineering background. Unfortunately, there are probably a few who aren't thorough enough as well, who don't get a ladder out to go to the roof, who don't go all the way through the attic. Interview the inspector, your Tarion inspector, before you hire them and bring them to your home. This crack right here is completely normal. How do you know? You need someone experienced to tell you. Check this out. That's a normal stress crack right there. I call it a settlement / stress crack. This house only has a few similar cracks, a few cracks like that, completely normal. Now, if they're beyond a few millimeters, if water's going through, if water's going through a crack, the builder is required to seal the crack. People call that seepage. I think it's kind of a goofy word, quite frankly, but seepage, you've got seepage. If water's going through a crack, let's call it water infiltration, the builder is required to stop the water infiltration. So again, how do you know what's normal and what's not normal? You need a professional to assess your foundations. You'd be crazy not to. Same with brick systems. Most builders in Ontario, as I said, most builders produce houses that have very good foundation walls and very good brick masonry systems. In 2014, we haven't seen really any significant problems at brick systems, meaning the systems overall are fine. You still find deficiencies, lots of joints that need to be fully sealed. But when you look at this brick system right here, that's a really excellent system. The concrete at this house is also excellent. So this is a big celebration. Again, you bought a new house, you might as well join the celebration. We'll celebrate the good stuff, identify the things that are going to cost you money, get your home inspector, get your Tarion inspector to assess every single piece of the house. Before the warranty expires, you've got to protect yourself or you really have no warranty. Andy Christie, inspect the uninspected TV.